Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are coloring in the beast that is this dream Japanese style apartment drawing. Yes, which is my day 11 and day 12 drawing project for the 100 days project. Yep, I got all the information out there. Under the hashtag 100 days of vector art, everything I've done for this challenge has been vector art. I may have started with a pencil, but it definitely ends with me in Illustrator. I have thoroughly enjoyed coloring in this piece for you guys. As I said in my last video, I was quite disappointed with myself with the pizza one. Not that I didn't love the pizza drawing, it just wasn't as detailed as I like to do, and I'm really glad that I put the time in to make this fantastic piece. So as you can see, I have the line art and I'm currently just coloring it in. I go with some really basic colors. There's probably about 25 colors in this, and some of them are shades, so I guess there's maybe 5 main colors, which are turquoise, pink, a few browns, gray, and a yellow maybe. But yeah, I have really enjoyed coloring in this for you guys to have a look at. Originally, the style I was going for was, I don't know, it was kind of Brian O'Malley inspired. If you don't know who Brian O'Malley is, he is the creator of Scott Pilgrim. Scott Pilgrim, if you know what it is vaguely, you'll know it probably is the movie, but actually it was some comics that he made ages ago actually. And then it was turned into a movie, as well as a really, really good video game, if you didn't know. The video game is very much more the style of the comics, and yeah, it's a really good game. I definitely am more a fan of the game than I am the comics. But the comics are a really good read if you actually really enjoyed the movie as well. So anyway, that's who Brian O'Malley is. But it ended up turning into more of this Neko Atsume style. Once I changed the outlines to this sort of purpley pink color. I don't know if you can hear that. By the way, Jonathan is watching the Rocket League World Champs, I think it is. So if you can hear anything in the background, that's what's going on. But you probably can't. Yeah, so I changed it to this purpley, pinky, dark pinky purple color. And that really helps to... it softens it quite a bit, and I guess it gives a bit of feeling as well. But yeah, after I did that, it basically turned into Neko Atsume style. If you don't know what Neko Atsume is, it is a game that some people that I stayed in the hostel with, they introduced me to it. They're like, oh my god, it's this great cat game and you collect cats. And I'm like, okay, I'll download this cat game. And I have no idea how it works, and I've never been successful at it, so I gave up pretty quickly. But I do know what it is, and now you know what it is. And yeah, so if you look up Neko Atsume, I think it's, yeah, just Neko Atsume, you probably will see a bit of inspiration from that in this, which is a good thing. It's a good thing to have some inspiration, even if your original intent was not to be inspired by that. But anyways, I'm really happy with the way it turns out in the end. So basically what I do first is I do all of the the single colors, the main color, I guess. And then I go on to do some shadowing. I think it's maybe 2 degrees of shadowing, possibly only one degree of shadowing. Is that one cell? I guess if you're talking about cell shades, it's 2 cell shades. I have no idea. I actually have no idea how the whole shading business goes. Yeah, and I do change a few things that I did in the line art to my preference. To be a bit more me, if that makes sense, because I did take a lot of things from The Sims, and my original intention was to add a lot more, but this is a huge picture, so I will eventually go back to this and do a few things differently. I guess I think I would have liked to show the bathroom a lot more, which I kind of just have 2 walls in front of it, and then I didn't know what to do with the walls that I now had. So yeah, I will go back to this piece, I think, eventually and change a few things. I'd also like to do another one of these, but do it in a more of an isometrical view. This is kind of, I don't know. I'm not quite sure what view this ends up being. It's not isometric. I don't know. Who knows? Isometric is kind of like on a corner, I guess. I don't know. I'm not very well versed in this kind of stuff. It's not my thing. I never did graphics or anything like that. I taught myself how to draw, I guess. But if I did graphics, I would probably be a lot more technical and not as fun. So glad I didn't do that, I guess. Yeah. So there's quite a bit to do with to do this, because it's a 30-minute long video, which is probably a record for me. I don't think I've done a 30-minute. I've always tried to keep them like 20-minute videos, 15-minute videos if I could or can, but this is such a huge picture that it just took so long, and I didn't want to make it a 3-video thing, because it's not really technically. I can get away with doing line art one day and then coloring it the next day and calling it 2 pieces, but I can't really call 3 videos 3 days, if that makes sense. So I didn't. So this is my coloring process, basically. And yeah, so it's what, 6:30 now? Yeah, just on 6:30, and I need to have some dinner. I'm not gonna lie, I need to have some dinner. But what did I do this day? I basically colored this in since about 9 o'clock this morning, 10 o'clock this morning, 10:30 this morning. Before that, we watched Attack on Titan. If you're watching Attack on Titan, let me know, because oh damn, those episodes are getting real good. Thoroughly enjoying that. If you didn't know, I'm a huge anime nerd. And I think it comes out like mid-morning here. No, that can't be right. I think it comes out just after we go to bed in Japan, and then we get on Crunchyroll probably the same time. I think it's simulcast, simulcast, sorry. And then we watch it Sunday morning. So yeah, if you're wondering. And yeah, so we watched that, and then I've basically been drawing this the whole day, and I'm super happy with it, so I have no complaints. And then this afternoon, Jonathan wanted me to help him out with his courier run, so I said, well, that's cool, but you can take me to Starbucks, get a coffee, because I am desperate for one. And that's something I've just been craving all day. I'm really bad, because I'll get like an idea in my head, and if I want something, I have to have it. So if I, like, within reason, like if it's like, oh man, I really feel like chocolate cake, and I'm like, no, I don't really need chocolate cake. I don't need chocolate cake. But if I'm like, man, I could really go for coffee. Oh man, I could do this. And I make a plan in my head, and I'm like, okay, cool, I'm going to go to Starbucks and get a coffee. And so I have to go and do that. If I don't do it, it kind of, or the day after, or whatever. It kind of, it's like, okay, a better example would be on a Wednesday night, I usually come home, I have skating practice, and I get home till like 7 o'clock, I think it is, just before 7 o'clock. And by that point, I am starving, and I know there won't be tea cooked, and I cannot be bothered cooking. So I know it's Hachihachi night. And I always come home, or on the bus home, I'm like, oh yes, I get to have a Hachihachi. Yes, I'm so excited, because Hachihachi is the best. If you don't know what that is, it's like a food chain that's only here in Christchurch, and they make the best Japanese donburis ever in my life. I've been to Japan, but nothing compares to their donburi. Their teriyaki chicken is amazing, and they have something called toritama udon, and it also has another name, which also means the same thing, but it's not. Toritama is a lot easier for us English speakers to understand. Hang on. It's easier for people who know basic Japanese to understand. Tori is bird, tama is egg, and it means egg and chicken soup. Udon soup, and it's amazing. So yeah, anyway, long story short, Hachihachi is amazing, and I just need to have my Hachihachi. And if somebody says to me, oh no, we're having something else, and I've had this idea of having it for like a day or half a day or 30 minutes or an hour, and someone says I can't have it, oh, shit gets real. I just can't handle it unless it's something just as good, or it's gonna be there quicker, if that makes sense. If someone says, hey, you can't have Hachihachi, but here's a sub and you can have it right now, I'd be like, I can deal with that. So yeah, that's basically how I operate most of the time. And I have no idea how we got to this topic. So I had Starbucks today, and that's probably why I'm on a massive tangent, is because the coffee is seeping in. I don't usually have coffee in the afternoon. I try and keep it to the mornings, but I was just like, yeah, I really need my white mocha, and I had my white mocha, and now I feel great. But also now I need food. So yeah, that was pretty much a day, and then I came home and I kept editing and stuff. So yep, that was my day. Um, it's really not that exciting. The only issue that I've recently found with doing daily videos is that I have less and less to talk about, because during the week I literally do the same thing every day, every week. Not a lot happens. So if I'm gonna do a video, whatever I'm talking about has to be really cool. So maybe I could talk to you guys about how Sims 4 is or The Sims is like a really important game to me. So maybe that's what I could talk about today. But yeah, it's hard to find content unless I'm talking about the piece and maybe the topic of that piece. So I did explain to you guys a little bit about the process of making this. Obviously you can see it's like a Japanese style apartment. It's not really a dream apartment. I've kind of labeled it as a dream apartment, but it's just a fun thing that I'd like to have. I'd like to live in, or a place I'd like to live, I guess. With whatever I found in The Sims 4. And I kind of, so I basically made the room in The Sims 4, and then took a screenshot of it, and then I took it into Photoshop, and then I drew all over it, and then I brought it into Illustrator to turn into this beautiful piece. It's a really long-winded process. You're probably wondering why I didn't just trace over it, but I don't like to... It's not a challenge if you're just tracing, which you can do. By all means, go for it. But it's not mine, if that makes sense. I feel like I've taken inspiration from this build this room that I've made, and then I took it into Photoshop and I kind of made it my own, if that makes sense, because when I take it into Illustrator, it's basically just a sketch, and I've got my outlines and things are easier for me, I guess you could say, and I don't have to think about every single piece that goes into this. So yeah, I don't like to trace, and I feel like tracing is cheating, and I have always felt that way, but that is a personal opinion. You can go ahead and do whatever you want. I used to trace all the time when I was a kid. I traced everything, and it's probably why I am, I don't want to say good, because that's a biased opinion, but that's why I've gotten the skills that I have, is because I've traced, and there's nothing wrong with tracing, but at this level, in a professional level, I don't like tracing. Obviously, tracing is cheating when you get to a professional level. But yeah, that's just a ramble on about why I did this really long-winded process when I could have just taken the picture and stuck it in Illustrator. Also, it's actually a lot easier if you don't have a very detailed piece to work off. So, say I just took the picture and I chuck it in Illustrator. It's so overwhelmingly detailed that I actually wouldn't know where to start. So that's partly the reason I take it into Photoshop and I just do the line art, or the basic main lines of everything. And it also gives me a bit of freedom of creativity, so I don't have to follow it exactly. I can kind of see my own image, if that makes sense. So say that shirt there, it's a Peter Pan color, but the original one is a blue shirt with buttons and stuff. So it doesn't restrict me to, if you see something, right, you drawing over top of it, you draw what you see, right? It's hard to draw what you can't see. So I guess if you take it into Photoshop and you just do the main lines, then you can sort of see your own vision, I guess you could say. Hope that makes sense, but it's a good excuse. I don't know if that's entirely true, but it's a good excuse. And it gets me away from tracing, I guess. Yeah, so that's another interesting bit about this piece. If you're wondering why I didn't just take the photo and stick it in Illustrator and then draw on top of it. Because it makes it harder and you can't see your own vision for it, and it's also cheating. In my eyes, in my opinion. You're more than welcome to go ahead and do that, if that's what makes you happy. Or it makes it easier to learn how to use Illustrator, even. Yeah, so I did a bit of a gradient on the walls just to kind of help with the lighting effect, I guess you could say. I did shadows as if the light was coming through the doors, which I really like how that works. I did, in my Sims build, put a little pot plant outside those. They were windows, but here I've drawn them as doors. But, well, one, it didn't make sense if their door was to have flowers right outside of it. And I wasn't really sure how to do mirrors. Like, I didn't know whether or not to do an exact reflection on the mirrors. So I thought I would just not do anything. And then for the doors, it kind of seemed odd to see through the doors but not see the reflection in the mirrors, if that makes sense. So I did neither, and they're just grey with some white over it. By the way, this cushion I actually have. It's a super fluffy, dusty pink cushion, and I got it from Kmart, and it was only like $20. And I'm actually super happy the way this has turned out in Illustrator, because I didn't actually think it was going to work. But it did, and I'm super happy, and I hope you guys kind of get the idea of what I was going with. I didn't do any shading on this because it would have been like a nightmare to do. I probably could have done some shading on it, but I didn't. So yeah, it's a fluffy cushion, and I'm super happy with it. Just something, in case you're wondering how to do fluffy cushions, there's a great idea for you. And then I tried to mess around with this pillow, and I gave up on it because it just looked really hot. So I think mostly the bedroom in its shading is done. I think I do a little bit more later on, and I give the rug a bit of personality as well, and then I do the photos. I was just like, I did not want to do those photos. I had no idea what to do with them, and I was just so over this piece by that point that I did not want to do those photos. So I do them right at the end, and they're just like blobs, but you'll see that. I'm gonna sneeze. Yeah, and the super cute fluffy lamp that I really liked, and I tried to get it to look like it was glowing, like it had light coming from it, but it's actually really difficult to do. So if you have any suggestions, let me know about how to make it look like it's looking like a lamp instead of a glowing pink something or other. Like, it's coming from the ceiling, so I guess it's a lamp. And then I tried to play with an inner glow and outer glow, but I didn't have time for that. So yeah, there's so much to talk about this piece. There's just so many elements to it. I don't know if I regret doing it so big. I probably should have kept it to a bedroom, thinking about it now, but I'm really happy with it, and it was a good experiment, I guess you could say. If I wanted to do something that was a little bit more detailed, then I would just do the bedroom, and I would probably plan it a lot better, maybe. And perhaps I did talk about doing things like plushies, like a Pikachu plushie and like dolls and stuff, which I would have done if I didn't have so much to color. As you can see, I didn't really finish off the books or anything, or that basket, which I should have, but it was just getting really overwhelming. And but I'm overall very happy with it. Like, I will probably come back and finish this at some point, when I find some time to finish it, or I'll do another one and I'll do it a bit more personalized, and I'll do isometric. I really want to do an isometric one. I need to do an isometric one. The reason isometric works in Illustrator is because if you hold the shift key, you can do straight lines, both horizontally, vertically, and on a 45-degree angle. And isometric, I think, is on 45-degree angles. Not 90-degree angles, 45-degree angles. Yeah, I think. I don't know. I'm not very good with this kind of stuff. I think it's... I don't know. Look it up. You'll find out. But yeah, I think that could be quite cool, and I've seen quite a few people do it, and it looks really effective. Also, I did this... I decided to do some tiles and some wood paneling on the bathroom. So basically what I did is I created a hexagon. Is it 5 or 6? 1, 2. It's a sexagon. It's a hexagon, and then I basically copied it over one space, and then hold down the D key, and it does the same thing along the row, if that makes sense. Then I copied that, I grouped it, copied it down one, and then did the same thing. Hold the D key, and it makes like a whole row down. And then I turned it into this kind of marbly pattern, basically. And then I copy masked it around specific shapes so that only showed up on the walls, essentially. And I'm really happy with it. It looks quite effective. Probably a bit too busy for the rest of the picture, and because everything is black, it's a little bit hard to see, but yeah, I was just playing with it. It was just fun to do some patterns, which I hadn't done in a while. I don't know what I did here, but this was not working, and it was frustrating as hell. for some reason had grouped really strangely. Or maybe it hadn't, and maybe I was just really... Yeah, I think that was my fault, actually. Or somewhere along the line, it was my fault, and I did something, and I can't remember what I did. So it was acting strangely. I don't know what... I feel like the sink and the toilet, I don't know if I like the brassy colour. I don't know if it's supposed to be wood, or if it's supposed to be brass or copper. Either way, it's kind of strange, but I just wanted to play with it, and I kind of only used a few colours, so I was just trying to keep it all in one colour scheme, basically. But yeah, so there's still another 10 minutes of colouring in this, because it is a mammoth job. And there was just a lot of finicky things there, especially when it comes to layering and stuff. There's like, as you can see on the side now, there's 6 layers, not including the bottom layer, which is for the original Photoshop sketch. So it's quite a few layers to play with, and I had to lock them a few times, different layers at different times, to make sure I wasn't like clicking on things I didn't want to click on, and that got really frustrating. Also, I didn't group a lot of things, which I think I should have at the beginning. It would have made things a lot easier, especially things like this, where it's like there's like 10 of them and you can't just select color because everything's the same color. But yeah, man, my nose is starting to run. So yeah, so there's the pot, and I ended up getting rid of that spoon because it just would not work. Now I think about it, I could have just made it shorter and it would have worked. That was silly. That is fine. Things happen. But yeah, looking pretty good. Yeah, no, I've completely run out. See, so this is why I don't do 30-minute long videos, because what do you say after 20 minutes? I've already got a 20-minute like monologue going on. I don't know if I can do a 30-minute monologue. It's just there's so very few things to talk about. Tomorrow's a day off, which is good. Tomorrow is Queen's birthday weekend. I'll be working. I'm supposed to be taking the day off, but there is so much at work to do. I've been talking about this for the last week. In fact, like the last 2 weeks, I think. For some reason, everything's gotten really busy, and I think it's because there's kind of like 3 financial... well, see, I always thought the 31st of March was the end of the financial year. Apparently, there's one in June. How many days in June? Like 30, 31? So the 30th of June must be another one. Or it's July, end of July, I'm not quite sure. I think it must be June. And then there's one in September, which is another, it's kind of like, because if, how do I explain this? Okay, so a really good example is if you're going overseas and you wanted to, you've got to pay back your student loan after 6 months of being away. And if you're away 6 months before the end of March, if that makes sense, then, or it's like you have to make a payment on the 31st of March if you've been away for 6 months before the 31st of March, if that makes sense. And then there's another one in September that you have to make a payment. So you basically have to make payments every 6 months, and it's because the end of financial year is March for most people, then the next 6 months would be the end of September, if you're wondering how that works. If that makes sense. So there's also another one for some reason in June, and I don't know who uses that as their financial year. I don't know if it's financial year or if it's something else. Anyways, work has gotten really busy because everyone is wanting to use their budget before the end of financial year. Long story short, that's pretty much it. So everything's gotten really, really busy, and it's going to be like this for a couple of weeks still, because everyone's wanting everything. And then we've got another big project that we've got coming in as well, and that will start as soon as one of my workmates gets back. So it's just hectic, busy all the time. But it's only for the next few weeks. I'm freaking out though, because I have a huge project myself that needs to be done before the end of June, by the 1st of July. So I think it's actually now it's like the 3rd of July, because the 4th of July is like the next working day. So I got till then. Either which way, I'm freaking out because that is a huge project. I don't know when I'm going to have time to do it, but it needs to get done. So I will find time to do it. But coffees in the afternoons might become a thing. I think I'm gonna start needing them. They might even be like a 5 o'clock coffee to get me through till midnight or something. That's gonna screw up my sleeping pattern, I'm sure. Oh well. It's only for a few weeks. But yeah. So still going on the shading. Actually, no, I think I'm just working on the shading and some more of the final touches now, which is really good. But man, there are a lot of bits and pieces to this piece. But I really love it. I do. I love it. I love the colors as well. I'm glad I went with these nice woody, grainy colors. Grains? They're not grains. They're just colors. And the pinks. I was gonna go with more of a turquoise, yellow, dark pink, which is actually quite a nice color scheme. I really like it. And it's very similar to what they use for the outdoor movie stuff pack, if you've got that. It's kind of this boho feel, and one of the color schemes I go with is that one. But I decided to go with what I'm loving at the moment, which is dusty pink, grey, and like a dusty blue as well. I actually have a nice quilt, I think it is, just like the one on the bed. And I also had that fluffy pillow, like I said earlier. And I actually have grey sheets like there are on the bed. And that pink hoodie I am wearing right now, even though my one says Mahou Shoujo, which means magical girl, and I love it. And that jacket I actually do have, but it's in like a really bright blue, not turquoise. So I did try and bring in some things that I do have in real life, which is cool. And now I'm just doing the shoes, and I think that is and I've got to do the rug as well. And there are a few things I missed that I do off camera, so apologies for that. But oh man, there was so much stuff. Like so much stuff. These shoes, they're kind of supposed to be like Chucks, and I make them grey and pink, which I actually have, but I haven't worn them for like I don't know, like 2-3 years. I only worn them a few times, which was really gutting because I really wanted them, and then I hardly had a reason to wear them. So that's a shame. I don't really wear Chucks anymore. I stopped wearing them after I bought I had these little blue ones that I had for like 6 or 7 years, and I just tore them to shreds, but like not nearly the way that my boyfriend tears his shoes. Like, I don't even know how he does it, but I buy him really good shoes, like quality shoes that do not break, and I could wear them for 10 years. He wears them for like 2 months, and then there's just nothing left of them. Like, okay, these ones maybe I'll last him more like 6 months, but like he's ripped the seam of it. Like, the seam of the shoe has come undone. Not even like where the shoe meets the sole. It's where like the materials are all stuck together, like, and then that's the whole shoe. It's not, I don't know how he does it, and it's all torn and the threads are torn. I'm like, how? These are quality made shoes. But like, you can imagine someone like him wearing like super cheap Kmart warehouse shoes, and they wouldn't last a month. Like, they'd be torn to shreds by the end of the month. It's insane. I don't know how he does it. How do you break shoes like that? I have shoes for like years and they don't break like that unless I wear them every single day. And which I have done that with my Skechers. Like, my Skechers are my life. I love my Skechers. And I haven't even broken them. Like, they've got sand in them and they need a wash, and that's it. Oh, no, I have broken. Oh, no, I've hardly broken them. I've broken like a little bit of rubber off the bottom of the heel. That's it. But like, they're still in shape and integral. And how do you break your shoes like that? That's what I want to know. I want to break your shoes. How do you break your shoes like that? I don't know. I don't even know. How? Please tell me how the man foot works in which you can break shoes like that. It's insane. Anyway, that's my small rant. It's not even that important. It was about those shoes that I was drawing that I still have in my cupboard that I still haven't worn. No, I've worn them a few times, but they're those Chucks that aren't ankle height, and they're not shoe height. I guess, you know how you can get like the ankle ones, the classics, and then you get like your shoe height ones. They're kind of like double the ankle height ones. You like fold them down in their ankle height, and then you fold them up and they turn into like the mid calf kind of style. And I just never really had an outfit to wear with them, so they're just sitting in my cupboard, really sadly. And they still look really nice. You know how Chucks are supposed to look like the white is supposed to go brownish? They haven't even done that. Like, they're still pristine white. Okay, maybe not pristine white, but like off-white as opposed to dirty white. But yeah, so fancy shoe story. We're getting there. So yeah, I think I just do the rug. Oh, I don't know why I put, yeah, that looks much better. And I didn't really know what to do with it. Personally, I would have just had a shaggy rug, but I didn't want to do what I did with the pillow over the entire space because it would have taken me forever. So I just took inspiration from the original drawing, and I did this nice, quite deep pink actually, rug. So yeah, anyways, here are the screenshots for you guys so you can see it all in its glory and detail and anything that I might not have shown you on camera. But yeah, there's the bed, which I love, and that lamp, which is, light, I guess it is. It's really cool. And there's like a plant lamp from the original, well, from The Sims. And then we move on to the desk area with my Dream Mac, which I don't even know if I want, but who knows. And then the bathroom and some hoodies, and just the kitchen is pretty much it for this. And then I will show you guys also the full thing overall. But I just want to say thank you so much for watching this video. It means so much to me. And make sure you subscribe if you want to continue to watch the series. Make sure you hit the like button if you loved it. And leave a suggestion below in the comments section for me, because I very much super duper appreciate it. Anyways, I will see you in my next video. Thanks guys. Bye.